Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and tackle one of the absolute most profound universal struggles in faith. I mean, we have all been there, right? You're looking for answers. You're desperately looking for a sign. And you hear? Absolutely nothing. Just silence. So today, we're going to unpack the source material to understand the framework behind this silence. We'll look at God's ultimate master plan and, most importantly, figure out exactly how you and I fit into it. Let's start with an incredibly relatable human problem. Picture this. You pray passionately for something. Your intentions are totally pure, but the outcome? It doesn't match your desires at all. You make your specific request, and you either get a resounding no, or actually, sometimes you don't even get that. Sometimes it's just pure silence. So it begs the question, is God really silent? Or is there something else happening entirely behind the scenes that our minds just aren't grasping? Let's find out.
All right, Section 1. When prayers go unanswered.
To really understand this tension between what we request and what God answers, we first need to look at the foundational prayer of Christianity. You know, for believers, this functions almost like a national anthem. Just as an anthem anchors a citizen to their country, these words anchor the believer's entire worldview. Jesus Christ himself inspired these very words. You probably recognize them from the King James Version of Matthew chapter 6. But I want you to notice a highly crucial phrase hidden right in the middle of this world-renowned request. It is literally the hinge upon which this entire concept swings.
Thy will be done. Look, the crucial point here is that prayer is ultimately about accepting the will from the throne of heaven. This means acknowledging that God's master plan is what's going to be accomplished. Now, you can pray and get exactly what you request when it perfectly aligns with that master plan. But what about when you don't get your exact request? Well, it's not a punishment. It's simply because a higher will is taking precedence over your current limited understanding of events.
Moving right along to Section 2, Jesus, the ultimate blueprint.
If you're currently grappling with an unanswered prayer, I want you to know you absolutely aren't alone. Jesus is viewed as the absolute blueprint for this incredibly difficult human experience. He is our spiritual brother who demonstrated exactly how to navigate it. The Gospel of Luke tells us that even Jesus, kneeling down in the Garden of Gethsemane, prayed for a different outcome. He literally asked to have the cup removed from him, but immediately he yielded, saying, "Not my will, but yours be done." And following that incredible act of yielding, an angel actually appeared from heaven to strengthen him.
And this blueprint of yielding, it continues right to the very end. Later on the cross, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, "Father, into your hands I commend my spirit." When he had said this, he breathed his last, willingly returning his life force back to the Creator's absolute authority.
This clear progression here, birth, death, resurrection, and ascension, really summarizes the entire purpose of the Bible, as outlined in John 3:17-18. It represents this massive planetary life event for all of humanity. As you can see, it shows Jesus returning back to heaven and perfectly demonstrates what completely yielding to God's ultimate master plan looks like in practice.
Let's move to Section 3, the mind of God.
So how do you and I fit into this master plan based on God's desires? To answer that, we have to look at the vast, frankly incomprehensible gap between our finite human thoughts and God's infinite reasoning. Romans 11:34 asks this powerful rhetorical question that just stops you in your tracks. The absolute simplest and most accurate answer to why certain devastating or confusing events happen in our lives is just this: we cannot fully comprehend the omniscient authority of God. I mean, no one acts as his counselor. 1 Corinthians 2:11 takes this concept even further. Think about it for a second. No one knows your inner thoughts except your own spirit, right? In that exact same way, no one knows the thoughts of God except the Spirit of God. So where does that leave us? Well, it means that for some events in your life, you and I will simply never know or understand the reasoning, either in whole or in part. When God seems silent, he's actually just operating on a level we literally cannot perceive. Which brings us to Section 4, above our pay grade. To really grasp this, let's look at a modern analogy. We are created beings, and quite frankly, we are simply not on the same pay grade as God. Think about the greatest achievements of humanity's minds. We've got complex scientific theories derived from laboratory test tubes. We've got self-driving cars. We have the absolute best artificial intelligence we can muster, and we are literally planning travel to Mars and other galaxies. But the source text is incredibly clear on this. None of these feats will ever pierce any level of the mind of our omniscient, almighty God. Historically, whenever humanity tries to step above its pay grade, it results in massive failures. Look at Genesis 3 with Eve and Satan's temptation. That was a huge failure with long-term generational impacts that are felt right up until this very moment in human history. Or think about the Tower of Babel's total failure in Genesis 11. These stories serve as powerful reminders that God can always stop humanity whenever and however He chooses. We are just never going to be on His pay grade.
Finally, Section 5, Finding Peace in Faith.
Knowing all of this, how do we keep our faith and believe without constantly questioning God's presence in our lives? It comes down to one core concept: Christian maturity. This means recognizing God's clearly given sovereign authority. It means actively accepting that He accomplishes His will and plans, even when they totally clash with our immediate desired outcomes. And you know what? This maturity isn't a defeat at all. It is actually a massive relief. It allows us to recognize that God does what is truly best for us, operating a master plan that we simply don't have to decode.
I absolutely love how straightforward this advice from the source material is. Trying to pit your finite, limited human mind against the infinite, unsearchable nature of the mind of God is an impossible challenge. If you try to force it, you will literally get a spiritual migraine, or worse, feel like you're losing your sanity. Everything in your life will be so much better if you just take your foot off the gas and simply accept this reality based upon your faith.
So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought today. Will you trade your spiritual migraines for the peace of trusting His master plan? I really hope this explainer helps you find some comfort the next time God seems silent in your life. Realizing that yielding to His ultimate pay grade isn't giving up, it's actually the path to the greatest peace we can possibly achieve. Keep learning, keep trusting, and I will see you in the next explainer.